Second grade. All right, we're going to do our first math lesson via YouTube video where you can kind of watch this, follow along as you're going. Of course, I'm going to probably move faster than what you might be able to work with your pencil and paper at home. So just pause me as you go. And then I did cross some stuff off. There are some math notes on here, but I'm going to kind of go over everything in here. So hopefully it makes sense. So we are starting chapter 10 today. Our first section, 10.1, is going to be collect data. So on this front page, I know in first grade with Mrs. Slavic, you worked on tally marks. So they are, we're pretending that we have a bag of colored cubes, and we took some cubes out of the bag, and we are just making tally marks to show how many cubes there were of each color. So up here, I said how many blue, red, and green cubes there were, so you will just draw the tally marks in here. And remember, when we do tally marks, so you've got your, I'll turn this so you can see in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, when we get to 5, we cross it like that. And then that it's easier to count by 5. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4 up and down, and then the fifth one goes across when you're making tally marks. Okay, on the next page, so I'm now on page 654. At the top, I'm going to just read through right up here. It says, you can take a survey to collect data. You can record the data with tally marks. Greg asked his classmates which lunch was their favorite. So if you take a survey, it's like you've kind of come up with a main question, and you are asking a certain group of people to pick their choice out of like 4 or 5 choices that you give them. So this person named Greg, he gave a survey to collect data from this group of people, and they were telling that Greg their favorite lunch. So the different lunch options were pizza, sandwich, salad, or pasta, and then he just made tally marks depending on what that person chose. So it looks like pizza got 4, sandwich got 6, salad had 3, and pasta had 5. All right, so now down here, you are going to fill in your first tally chart here. So they give you a blank tally chart there. You put the title at the top. We're talking about favorite pet, and it says, take a survey, ask 10 classmates which pet is their favorite. Use tally marks to show their choices. Well, of course, since we're not in the classroom right now, I added some notes right here. And so it says 2 picked cat, 5 picked dog, 1 picked fish, and 2 picked bird. So you will write that many tally marks for each of those animals here. And then you're going to go ahead and answer the questions. So 1 is just filling that information in down here. Number 2 says, how many classmates chose dog? So you'll see how many chose dog over here. Which pet did the fewest classmates choose? Remember words like fewest, most, greatest, least. So fewest would mean like the smallest amount. And then this one said, number 4 says, did more classmates choose cat or dog? So write cat or dog there. And then they want to know how many more chose that animal. So of course, when we're comparing 2 numbers like that, to find the difference between the 2, we need to subtract. All right. Then on to the next page. Now I'm on page 655. It says, take a survey, ask 10 classmates which indoor game is their favorite. Use tally marks to show their choices. Once again, I wrote how many people picked each game. You'll put the tally marks here, and then you'll answer the questions that go along with it. So number 6 says, how many classmates chose board game? Number 7 says, which game did the most classmates choose? Number 8 says, did more classmates choose a card game or a computer game? So you'll compare those 2, and you'll see which one is more. And then once again, it says how many more. And remember, to figure out how many more one thing has than the other thing, you will have to subtract. And then the number 9 says, which game did the fewest classmates choose? And then number 10 is crossed out, so you don't have to do that. All right. On the next page. So now I'm on page 656. So the name Mako, and of course if you don't know how to say that name, you can always just call them by their first letter. So if you just want to say M asked her classmates to choose their favorite subject. She made this tally chart. So they already made the tally chart for you. You have reading, math, and science, and then it has the tally marks next to it. And then it says how many more classmates chose math than reading. So you are comparing math to reading. So remember, once again, comparing the two to figure out how many more chose one than the other, you're going to need to subtract. Don't worry about that part there if it's crossed off. And then number 12, fill in the bubble next to all the sentences that describe data in the tally chart, They're talking about favorite meals. They've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they have the tally marks here. And then if this describes the chart over here, you'll bubble it in. If it doesn't describe the chart, don't bubble it in, just leave it blank. All right, so this one says 10 children voted for lunch, 13 children voted for breakfast, more children voted for dinner than for lunch, and the last one says a total of 35 children voted for their favorite meal. So to figure out the total amount of children that voted, you'll have to add all the breakfast people, all the lunch people, and all the dinner people together to get the total amount. So you might need to do a little stacking and adding over here. All right, then onto your assignment page, so 657, so it's just like when we're in class. You'll have the 3 pages to do. So at the top, it says take a survey, ask 10 classmates how they got to school. Use tally marks to show their choices. So once again, I have the notes right up here. It says 1 picked walk, 1 picked bus, 7 picked car, and 0 picked bike. So the first thing you'll do is you'll put the tally marks over here. Question number 2 says how many classmates rode in a bus to school? Number 3, how many classmates rode in a car to school? Number 4, in which way did the fewest classmates get to school? And number 5, in which way did the most classmates get to school? And then number 6 is crossed out. On to the back, use the tally chart. Which color did the fewest children choose? Remember, fewest means least or smallest amount. Number 2. So now these are all your review questions. How many dimes have the same value as $1? So you need to tell me how many dimes it would take to make $1. And remember, $1 is the same as 100 cents. Number 3, Jared has 2 ropes. Each rope is 9 inches long. How many inches of rope does he have in all? So remember, he has 2 ropes, a rope here and a rope here. They're each 9 inches. So how many inches of rope does he have altogether? The clock shows the time Lee got to school. At what time did she get to school? Remember, your hour hand is your shorter hand, and your minute hand is your longer hand. And number 5, Liza finished studying at 3:30. What time did Liza finish studying? And remember, if a time is half past the hour, that means that the minute hand is halfway around the clock. All right, and that is lesson 10.1. If you have any questions or if you're confused on anything, you can email me, call me, whatever you need to do, or leave it blank for now. And hopefully when we're back in school, we can go over it. But try your best. Hopefully I answered all the questions on it. And I know it'd be more fun to take surveys in class with our friends. But once again, hopefully when we're back in school, we can do some of our own surveys and find out some information. All right, good luck.